Hey, hey, hey. Happy Saturday, everybody. Coming on early. So we're going to go on probably get 3 hours in. Probably have a big show today. So Raisin did a good job of putting that. I sent that video of Chico this morning. I took him to the park for the first second time, and so he'll be going there every day now. You have to have a dauber to get in. So, job, Raisin. Thanks. Tim's the only one in here first. I was trying to reach Ann. She must be ordering the popcorn for Tim. Couldn't reach her. So this will be our first Saturday on the big channel. And day number 7. Is this the 7th show already, I think? Can't remember if it's the 7th one or not. Well, I got my Michigan perfect season shot shirt on for tonight's rivalry game, Michigan State and Michigan. Showing 7, Raisin. So we'll wait to get everybody in here. Oh, it's 33 views so far, Raisin. Yeah. Oh, don't forget, gotta get. Hang on. I must have fallen behind the chair. Yep. Fall back on the chair. Hold on. If I don't knock anything over. Ah. Oh, he was behind. He was behind. He was behind the chair. Yep, Tim. There's KK. Get everything all done, Gay? Okay. Ariel. Oh my goodness, Kay, look at who's right below you. Marilyn, how you been doing? Good to see you. I got the channel back this week. Thanks. So, yeah, Kay and Raisin are the two mods I got. I got Michigan and Michigan State tonight at 7:30, so we'll have a good long show. A lot of good stuff today. I don't know what happened to Carol. I was trying to reach Ann, but she must be on the phone. Couldn't reach her. Billy finally came out. 21 minutes, you guys. So do you guys want me to play her first today? Yep. Marilyn, are you sub to my other channels I have? Because I've been on ever since I lost this. Raisin posts all the links and stuff. I don't know if you're sub to all my other channels. Lucy, I see you liked the video that Raisin put up. Yeah, we finally got inside the playground. Every day we'll be going there. So we have two breaking news we'll look at before we do the intel. I guess there was a shooting in a library. Why would there be a shooting in a library? And then Hurricane Melissa, that JLR guy is live on it.
How long do you think this shutdown?
And Canada's having a rally. So we'll go ahead and get the breaking news intel out before we start the regular intel.
Rivers, mountains that will come down through the mountains and channel through the valley, and some of those homes that were literally up on the riverbanks and even pushed away from the river reached 35 to 40 feet. And you know what that is like. You don't have much time to escape. Where are you going to escape? What happens if the roads get cut off? Where are you going to go? I think you got to find a place, hunker down, and pray for the best. And pray. It looks like Kingston has a lot of hotels down by the tourist area. However, those hotels will probably be just set for residents there, the hotel tourists, and they probably won't let people seek sanctuary. Do they got like some sort of like Superdome there, a sports stadium, something? Where do you go? What happens if you don't have a place to go? Is it going to be neighbors helping neighbors? Letting people in? Hopefully. I'm very concerned here. Let me see if there's some additional information to share out. But as of right now, direct hit. Direct hit as of now. Now, if these feeds are up tomorrow,
yeah, that's the latest on that.
We'll definitely cover tomorrow.
Chicago, guys. Chicago. So that was Chicago. Got one more breaking news. No, I can't find it. All right, we'll go ahead and start on then, Dell. I guess we better we'll get Billy Bean out of the way. Oh wait, we'll do the NBA updates, you guys. We'll do Billy Bean shortly. We'll get some updates from the Broad report.
Billions of dollars worth of rigged bets. The basketball league left to clean up this mess after players and coaches were linked to the scandal. Hall of Famer and head coach of the Portland Trailblazers, Chauncey Billups, and Miami Heat forward Terry Rozier indicted on multiple gambling and fraud charges. Joining us now, Daniel Wallach, sports betting and gaming lawyer. Thank you so much for being here this morning. What is your reaction to these arrests, and how long does it appear that this investigation has been ongoing?
Well, these are somewhat older events. I mean, the Terry Rozier allegations were reported by the Wall Street Journal 6 months ago, involved games that took place in 2023, and the NBA had already done an investigation and cleared them. So it's somewhat of a little surprising development that the FBI decided to make a cause celeb over allegations that were relatively old and tied that in with poker allegations. But make no mistake about it, Jessica, these are very serious charges. And with respect to the sports betting angle, it does focus in on the risks and the vulnerabilities associated with proposition bets that are bets that can be made on whether or not an individual player will exceed or go under a certain statistical benchmark, like rebounds, points, assists, block shots. Those kinds of bets can easily be manipulated by the players by pulling themselves out of the game, taking something off of their shot, and they could tell their friends and colleagues or gambling syndicates about it ahead of time. But the NBA and the sports books have an integrity alert system that can flag those kinds of wagers when there is an unusual or suspicious amount of activity surrounding them. So the prop bets are the risks, but the sports books that are regulated by state law cooperate with the NBA, and they work with these integrity monitoring firms to flag those kinds of bets, which is exactly how the NBA found out about any of this stuff, because before there was legal sports betting, everything was offshore. It was the mafia, it was the book, it was Antigua, Costa Rica. You wouldn't learn
one
about
more
any
I'll
of it.
do.
So these temptations have existed since the beginning of time, but now we have the detection tools because of legal sports betting to be able to bring them out into the open.
So I had to ask you this, but I'm kind of laughing because I was going to ask you, are you surprised that it involves, multiple members of 4 New York Italian crime families? But I'm guessing your answer is going to be no. This all makes sense. It all kind of lines up and follows the script.
Well, I mean, you're talking about the Eastern District of New York Federal Court, which is pretty much the nerve center of organized crime, federal criminal indictments. The Eastern District of New York, the Southern District of New York, you're talking about where all the crime families are located. And a big part of this indictment centers on a poker ring that was orchestrated by members of the La Cosa Nostra, which used
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now on your phone, and you...
Okay, I got one more.
Is coming.
I like this one.
I'm gonna say it on national television again. Bad Bunny is performing at the Super Bowl, and all of a sudden you hearing ICE is gonna be there, looking to engage in mass deportation.
Oh, what happened?
Have I said Trump is coming? He's coming. I'm gonna say it on national television again.
What? That's weird. I'll play it on my phone. Hang on a second. Raise, can you drop this channel link? It's my old friend Trina. She's on Rumble. I don't know how many people's on Rumble, but one of her channels. If you can put it in the chat for me, thanks. Angel Warrior Network.
Incident after another.
2 minutes.
Have I said Trump is coming? He's coming. I'm gonna say it on national television again. Bad Bunny is performing at the Super Bowl, and all of a sudden you hearing ICE is gonna be there, looking to engage in mass deportations. The Super Bowl, disrupting things. Big night for the NBA. Wembanyama put on a show. That has now been smeared because we're talking about this story, okay? Remember, Trump has a long, long history connected to the world of sports because he had those casinos. Where do you think folks were coming half the time? I'm not talking about individuals. I'm talking about the culture. When people want to go to a casino, when people want to gamble, when people want to party, or whatever the case may be, this was his kind of connection to that. Why am I glad you're here, Monica? Because Don't be surprised if the WNBA is next on his list. Because when you've got all of these protests that have been going out there and people that have been protesting against him and what have you, this man is coming. He's coming. And I've been saying it for a long time. And to me, this is the latest nugget of evidence that we're talking about right here. That's not to question the legitimacy of the case. We don't know. We're all sitting up here and we're saying that we don't know. But anybody that has been around him, anybody that has talked to him, anybody that has seen his reactions from the sports leagues and the positions that people have taken, they are not surprised at what's going on today. I'm watching a press conference with the director of the FBI. Tell me when we've seen that. We've seen people, we've seen accusations before. We've seen athletes get in trouble with the law before. You don't see the director of the FBI having a press conference. It's not coincidental. It's not an accident. It's a statement. And it's a warning that more is coming. And that's what they're saying here. And everybody better get, I'm just telling you, it's as serious as it gets. This ain't the platform for me to get into it the way I'm going to get into it. But I've been saying he's coming. He's coming because in his eyes, folks try to throw him in jail. In his eyes, he's innocent. They try to put me behind bars. I'm getting everybody. He's not playing. And so this, in a lot of people's eyes, talk to people in the NBA, talk to people in the NFL, talk to people in the world of sports. They think this is like the tip of the iceberg. These are the kind of words that are coming out of people's mouths. It's not a surprise. It's very disheartening. It's very concerning. We don't know where this is going to go. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. Everybody's going to brace themselves because he's coming.
That was an important one there, huh, you guys? You made a good point. Yeah, Raisin, what I sent you, that's the name of her channel. If they hang it. Can you see it? Sorry about that, you guys. It's Hero 1776 is the name. All right, we'll get going on Billy B now, you guys. This one's 21 minutes.
2025, Texas, about 11 a.m.
That's right. Today's the 25.
And thanks for like, subscribe, and share. Some of the sources I used today: God in the Bible Patriot subscribers, Judge Napolitano's recent interview with Phil Girardi, David Nino Rodriguez interview with 107, Task and Purpose, New York Prepper Hal Turner, Prepper News Plus. Some of the things we'll cover: Melissa turns, President Trump rebuilds, and the coup of 2020 plus the cartels, Venezuela, Cuba, Iran, Serbia plus. So let's get started. I'm going to begin with the update, 11 a.m. update on Melissa. Currently still a tropical storm, wind 70 miles per hour, pressure 982, moving northwest at 1 mile per hour, but I believe that's changed. The direction is now south-southeast. We've had a turn in Melissa. And what we see is Melissa will become a hurricane today, Saturday, Sunday, and become a major hurricane and will turn this way and be then decrease from a major hurricane to a hurricane by 2 a.m. Thursday. So we see Melissa turning from the west-northwest to the south-southeast. And we say, thank you, Jesus. Space weather. We can expect a G1 geomagnetic storm October 27 tomorrow.
That's Greg's channel.
And according to
Angel
NASA,
Warrior
we
Network.
are still seeing Atlas, even though it's on the other side of the sun, via the CCOR coronagraph, plus the SOHO satellite in the sky. So that's going on. And NASA maintains Atlas is a comet. Although multiple sources, including Michio Kaku, there's nothing comet-like about Atlas. And we have this. Yeah, Atlas is behind the sun. And before the report this morning of space weather, because independent astronomers had already come out in the last couple of days saying what NASA is saying they can't see Atlas is not true. So then this morning, NASA comes out on space weather. Yeah, we really can see it. Okay. Thank God for independent sources, right? Otherwise, we would be 100% subject to government propaganda and manipulation. So that's going on. And we have this. Yeah, this is one of the independent astronomers, Wool Hate Bogplod. He's from Europe. And he put out in the last 48 hours, NASA can see Atlas. They can see it with their CCOR1 coronagraph. And another source said they can also see it with the SOHO. So NASA comes out and corrects their own information. And we have this. Yes, we've had 3 massive CMEs on the far side of the sun impacting Atlas. Some sources are saying there was no impact on Atlas. However, those 3 massive CMEs on the far side of the sun are impacting the Earth in terms of radiation, proton storm, and affecting radio transmission. And the U.S. Air Force put out a Type 2 radio alert. So that's going on. And we have this from Mr. MBB333. That, yes, there has been a crack in the Earth's magnetic shield. He puts forth this information, which correlates to information I've put out at least a year ago about so we have South America, we have Africa, we have Europe, we have the U.S. We've been hearing about the South Atlantic anomaly for a good 10 years, where Earth's electromagnetic shield is down to the Earth. They've been saying 120 miles above the Earth for years. I believe it's much lower. I put out at least, several years ago, because that had to do with part of my research into the COVID, that this South Atlantic anomaly had split and it covered Africa, Europe, and now is coming over this way. Well, we had Stan Deyo, a physicist, about 3 to 6 months ago say, yes, the South Atlantic anomaly had split and it begun impacting the people in the Canary Islands. It's between the U.S. and Africa with radiation sickness. Now, Mr. MBB333 has a source that's now saying the same thing but naming it. So we have the South Atlantic anomaly, and now in the Atlantic, we have the North Atlantic anomaly. So that's going on. We see truth pushing through. And now we have this. If nothing's going on with Atlas, according to Daily Mail, NASA has launched certain probes around the Earth as part of NASA's planet-wide defense net. And they're putting in place a NASA training exercise November 27 through January 27 that has to do with planet-wide defense net. And in this process of the defense net, NASA puts out, as well as other governments, telescopes, other tracking systems, and they are now turning this planet-wide defense net toward Atlas. But hey, isn't Atlas just a comet? So that's going on. And and they're synchronizing their telescopes around the world in Hawaii and Chile to focus on Atlas. So that's going on. We have this. President Trump has stopped all trade negotiations with Canada, according to Hal Turner's intel, because Canada put out a fake advertisement showing President Reagan saying that
It's okay. That's the one I played yesterday. Should I have done that or not? I hope that was okay to play. Razor, did you see that? It was a 5-minute clip. I hope that was okay.
tariffs were not good for America. President Reagan had held the same position as President Trump that tariffs are good for America. So Canada, take your fake advertising and put it where the sun doesn't shine. And we'll just stop trading with you. Liar, liar, pants on fire. We have this from New York Prepper. President Trump has a plan to remove Maduro, the leader of Venezuela, and actively has the CIA doing covert missions inside Venezuela and is hitting narco boats in the Caribbean and the Pacific. Yeah, that's going on. So we have multiple sources for the U.S. President Trump, the U.S. military, hitting narco boats. I think they're up to 10 they've hit. I believe they've taken out 34 of the narco terrorists. And they are now hitting both inside the Caribbean and inside the Pacific Ocean. So that's going on. And we have this. Just Napolitano interviewed Phil Girardi, I believe he was former CIA, stating that the CIA is now working inside Venezuela and that they are working with Maria Machado, who Phil Girardi says is a Mossad agent. That means she's an agent of the Intel Group of Israel. What the H? And so that's going on. And Phil Girardi also puts out, U.S. military is now hitting narco boats in the Pacific. And we have this from Breitbart. President Trump and the U.S. military are hitting the cartels in the Pacific Ocean. This has been announced by Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, that they are hitting narco boats in both the Caribbean and the Pacific. And that Colombia, so we have Venezuela, we have Colombia, who is siding with Venezuela because they're also a narco nation. So Colombia was hit Tuesday, a narco boat off the coast of Colombia. Yeah, so that's going on. And we have this. Best and Taylor are talking about information from Stan Deyo, physicist, regarding Operation Iron Justice. It's the cartel's threat inside the U.S. And the cartel troops have been pre-positioned inside the U.S. So Operation Iron Justice is an operation by the U.S. government, U.S. military inside the U.S.
8 minutes.
to combat foreign terrorists, the cartels. Cuba is involved. And the cartels are using drones that were made in Ukraine. So we see Ukraine also involved in a terrorist operation against America. And we have this, that the U.S. military is currently hitting the cartels in mountains inside Mexico. Way to go, President Trump. All of these nations participated in the presidential coup of 2020, besides being narco-terrorist. Hal Turner, we have this. Yes, the U.S. military is now also, we know they have like 10 warships, tens of thousands of troops and planes and so on. Now, the U.S. military is moving from Europe to the Caribbean. The USS Gerald Ford Carrier Strike Group. And we, the people of America, say, bring it, President Trump. We are tired of these narco-terrorists destroying America and killing American citizens. So we say, bring it. We have this from New York Prepper. I think in the last 24 hours, we had 2 B-52 strategic bombers fly from the U.S. down to Venezuela. So that's going on. They flew out of Dias, a military base in Abilene, Texas, down to Venezuela. President Trump last week advised Congress that the U.S. is engaged in an armed conflict with cartel forces. Way to go, President Trump. And we have this. David Nino Rodriguez interviewed 107. Yes, we're fighting more than the narco terrorist. We, the American people, so we're fighting the narco terrorist.
I shot
Plus, we're fighting the deep
7:30.
state that brought about the presidential coup inside the U.S. in 2020, orchestrated through many foreign nations, including Venezuela, Colombia, Cuba, Iran, Serbia, Italy, and more. So this is coming out. These foreign nations were involved in the coup of 2020. And we now have this, John Brennan, who's currently under investigation, owns one half of the building located in Serbia where the Dominion vote counting machines were operating during the presidential coup of 2020. So that's going on. And we see Venezuela, Cuba, Serbia, Iran, and other nations involved in this coup and also in narco-terrorism. And the DOJ, just as they put out a bounty on also in these foreign nations involved in the presidential coup of 2020, is South Africa. Just as the DOJ put a bounty on the head of Maduro, 50 million, I believe, they are getting ready to put a bounty on the head of the president of South Africa, Ramaphosa, for his involvement, his nation's involvement in the presidential coup of 2020. So that's going on. And we have this from Prepper News. Yeah. So Russia, inside Russia, Russia has deployed their military in protective status around their nukes and other significant military sites. And it's curious that we've had inside NATO nations, it's believed by many independent thinkers that these hits inside the NATO nations were by NATO on the oil and gas refineries inside Romania, Slovakia, and Hungary, and that the companies providing oil to these three NATO nations, Romania, Hungary, and Slovakia, the source oil refineries inside Russia were also hit by Ukraine. Yeah, I submit they were hit by NATO. NATO hit inside NATO nations, Romania, Hungary, and Slovakia, in my opinion, oil refineries to hurt these NATO nations. And then NATO also hit inside Russia, the source of the oil to these NATO nations. Can't make this stuff up. And it's hard to know who to trust, isn't it? I say, turn to God. And now a short prayer. Father, we come before you in the name of Jesus, whom many call Yeshua. And we bring this up, Father, just as you blessed Nehemiah to rebuild the walls around God's land. We pray, Father, that you bless America and President Trump in rebuilding the walls around America and strengthening our borders so that only people come in who can benefit America. And we say thank you, God the Father, God the Son, Jesus, whom many call Yeshua, and God the Holy Spirit. I say to my family and friends, remain steady out there. Continue to pray. God is in charge, and He is on the move. I love you, and I'll see you soon.
Hey, that's today's first Billy. So, Kay, I'm hoping the hand will get in here. Guess who TCU is playing tonight, okay? I got a 2-minute video. And then I've got 2 Clinton videos, you guys. Let me know if we played them before.
For James Comey and others, including their mouthpieces in the media, knowingly lied as they repeated the contrived narrative that was created in this January 2017 intelligence community assessment with high confidence as though it were fact. John Brennan, as CIA director, stated in a memo to his agency staff in December of 2016, saying, quote, "There is strong consensus among us on the scope, nature, and intent of Russian interference in our presidential election." This was reported by NBC News, confirming that Brennan, along with James Clapper and James Comey, agreed with the CIA's assessment that Russia intervened to help Trump win the presidency. As Obama's director of national intelligence, James Clapper was tasked with overseeing the creation of this assessment in January of 2017 by President Obama, and he expressed confidence in its findings. In a 2018 interview with the Harvard Gazette, he talked about how he provided Trump with the same classified assessment that President Obama received, which is the high confidence judgment that Putin directly ordered the hacking and election interference. Clapper then went on to add, "I think they, the Russians, actually influenced the outcome." This is a brief summary of the details that you'll find within the House Majority Staff's report in their investigation into the Obama-directed January 2017 intelligence community assessment. That leads us to the very same conclusion that we announced in the release of our documents on Friday. The implications of this are far-reaching and have to do with the integrity of our democratic republic. It has to do with an outgoing president taking action to manufacture intelligence to undermine and usurp the will of the American people in that election and launch what would be a years-long coup against the incoming President of the United States, Donald Trump.
Okay, that's the latest on that. So let me guys know what you guys think on the next 2 videos.
Clinton, in which she was conveying an interest in the body of Gilgamesh. So I think that that's anecdotal, but I think that the occult, members of the occult, and I think that Hillary is a member of the occult.
You want to remember this?
The secrecy surrounding giants is kind of baffling to me. On one hand, you can understand why conventional archaeologists would keep it secret, because it just blows their theories to pieces. We know that Colonel Powell, for example, who's I believe the first director of the Smithsonian, he knew about the existence of the giants that were being discovered in the mountains of America because he wrote a letter to his friend. And in the letter, he said that they cannot yet talk about the giants until they can determine where they came from. And the reason why the origin of the giants was so important to Powell is because Powell was an isolationist. And the Smithsonian Institute the doctrine is isolationist, the doctrine of isolationism. And the doctrine of isolationism propounds that all of these various cultures around the world developed independent of each other. In other words, there was no contact across the seas.
Anyone seen that?
Nobody was coming
think?
from over the sea. There wasn't cross-pollination from other cultures. In other words, the ancient Egyptians weren't cross-pollinating with anyone in the Americas. Everyone developed totally independent of each other. These are the pillars of modern archaeology and the conventional historical narrative. Isolationism. That's a problem. If you're finding red-haired giants all over the world, obviously these guys are migrating from over the sea. And they're coming from somewhere, and that somewhere happens to be the Middle East. And probably Sardinia as well. Most likely, I think Sardinia is the hub, was the hub of post-flood giants. So Powell didn't want to talk about the giants because it wrecked his theory of isolationism. So there's that, right? But the argument is made sometimes that, well, they don't want to talk about giants because it proves the biblical narrative. Okay, that's a very weak argument, though, because giants don't just prove the biblical narrative, they prove all the myths.
What do you guys think?
Of all the different ancient cultures around the world. I mean, everybody's got myths of giants, so it's not exclusive to the biblical narrative. There's something else going on, especially if the Vatican's involved in the cover-up. Why would the Vatican want to suppress evidence that the biblical narrative is true? Why would they be interested in that? That doesn't make any sense. You think that they would be eager to present this evidence to the world and say, see, here's more evidence that the Bible is true, being Christians, right, as they are. So what is the reason? Why is this topic of giants so taboo? And why has there been what I believe is a historical and systematic cover-up of the existence of giants? Why? Well, the only thing that makes sense to me is that the occult is involved here, that the mystery schools are at the center of this, that the bodies of giants are being used in a very specific way, that there's a purpose, and that they don't want people to know, for whatever reason, they don't want people to know about the existence of these giants because there's something about them that's deeply entrenched, that's deeply intertwined with the mystery schools.
It's part of a ritual involving black magic.
Black magic.
Your black magic only works on the rookie.
I mean, are they using the bodies for ritualistic purposes? Probably. Are they worshiping? Are they venerating these bodies? Probably. Are they harvesting genetic material from them? Probably. That's a much better explanation than, well, they don't want to prove the Bible is true. I think that it's a much more plausible explanation that they're harvesting something from the bodies. They have a use, they have a function. And whatever that use and function is, they don't want anybody to know about it. There's probably a black market that exists for these relics related to giants and other things as well, relics related in general to the antediluvian world. And oddities in general. I mean, out of place artifacts, rather. I know there's a black market for that. So, I suspect it's something to do with the occult. I suspect that the cover-up of giants, the primary reason, has much more to do with the mystery schools. And everybody knows that Abraham Lincoln, I would say, knew that the bodies of giants were being discovered in the mountains. He references it. That ancient race of giants, I'm paraphrasing, whose remains can still be found in the mountains of America, something along those lines. Abraham Lincoln, that was a definitive statement by Honest Abe. And so I don't think there's any doubt whatsoever that the bodies of giants were being discovered in the mountains of America, just like they were being discovered all over Sardinia. I think in some sense, and I illustrate this in the film I made about this, Holocaust of Giants, that in my film Holocaust of Giants, I draw a correlation
What do you think on this one,
between
Razor?
Sardinia, the situation that was happening in Sardinia in the 19th and early 20th century, and the situation that was happening in the United States, namely with the Smithsonian cover-up of the remains of giants that were being discovered in the mountains and elsewhere in the 19th and early 20th centuries. So I think there's a very interesting correlation there. Both America and Sardinia, for whatever reason, both of these areas were littered with the bones of giants.
Don't you guys remember?
Don't you guys remember? It's
This website, WikiLeaks, and who is
Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton drink the blood of children?
I'm pretty sure it was Gilgamesh.
They stopped it. They don't want to know the truth, you guys. I got another one.
But you have all the power.
The things they say are so ridiculous. Honestly, I don't know what I ever did to get them so upset.
My father's no different than any other powerful man. Any man who's responsible for other people. Like a senator or a president.
You know how naive you sound.
Why?
Senators and presidents don't have men killed.
Oh. Who's being naive, Kay?
There's a fella here been talking some about being our next congressman. He's a new man. Bill Clinton is his name.
Let us put aside our fears for our hopes. Let us trust each other and work to forge a future that will enrich the lives of our people. A future that will strengthen our traditions and our faith. A future that will make us proud that in our time we gave our best. God bless you all, and thank you very much.
The term the Clinton body count has become a fairly common saying in today's pop culture. It is based on the fact that scores of the Clintons' critics, opponents, associates, and criminal witnesses have died in mysterious ways. Far too many to reasonably be discarded as mere coincidence.
What do you guys think?
The saying first appeared when a young Bill Clinton was the governor of Arkansas, and at least 20 people connected to the young governor were murdered or died mysteriously, mostly surrounding the CIA's illegal activities at Mena Intermountain Municipal Airport, which was part of the Iran-Contra affair, wherein the U.S. government was smuggling drugs and guns through Mena, Arkansas, to fund an illegal revolution in Nicaragua.
The Contras were former Somoza supporters, former Somoza military officers who had been kicked out of Nicaragua in 1979 and were trying to retake the country with the aid of the CIA. And the one thing that's important, and a lot of people don't recall because this is ancient history, it happened 15 years ago, was that the Contras were a creation of the CIA. The Contras were dealing drugs in Los Angeles and elsewhere. These drug traffickers were meeting with CIA agents. The impact of it was that when you had all this cheap cocaine going into South Central Los Angeles, right at the time people were figuring out how to take this powder cocaine and turn it into crack, you had sort of a collision of historical events in a very odd place.
It was bombshell news when it broke. Several documentaries were made in the 1990s covering Clinton's involvement with Mena and the growing number of dead witnesses. And even mainstream news covered the sensational story of CIA drug smuggling. But it was only a flash. After the story broke, the corporate media dutifully ran damage control and buried what would have been the scandal of the century. And when the CIA finally admitted to these crimes, the news cycle was saturated with Monica Lewinsky, cigars, and oral sex in the Oval Office. As far as the mainstream narrative goes, Mina never happened.
My immediate supervisor, who was a lieutenant over the Saline County Criminal Investigation Division, took me for a ride that lasted approximately 1 hour. During this ride to literally nowhere, it appeared the whole purpose was to tell me to leave the case alone. He said things like, there's not anything to this. This could have been an accident. It's going to bring you a lot of grief if you continue on and do this. And in the end, he finally said, you know, John, you really need to leave this alone.
Unrelated to Mina, the first two names on the list are women, which is fitting for the man with more accusations of rape and sexual assault than any other politician in U.S. history. There is very little information to be found on Suzanne Coleman, or Susan Coleman, but the rumor is well established. She was allegedly telling friends that she was pregnant with Bill Clinton's love child while Bill was the Attorney General of Arkansas. And on February 15th, 1977, 26-year-old Coleman died of a gunshot to the back of the head, which was ruled a suicide. A gunshot to the back of the head is a very unlikely suicide, which is a common theme throughout the Clinton body count list. Next on the list is Judy Gibbs, who on January 3rd, 1986, died in a mysterious house fire while rumors were spreading that she had compromising pictures of her and then Governor of Arkansas, Bill Clinton.
Did Maureen get that floppy display taken care of?
No.
As a teenager, Judy Gibbs was lured into prostitution by her brother-in-law, Dale Bliss, who was married to her sister Sharon. Judy later became a model and former penthouse pet. At age 30, Gibbs left her modeling career and married Bill Puterbaugh. According to his son Randy, Puterbaugh liked to rub shoulders with politicians in Arkansas and claimed that his father was prostituting his young, beautiful wife to Governor Bill Clinton to gain political favor. According to Judy's sister Martha, Governor Clinton would fly Judy from the small airport opposite Puterbaugh's house into Little Rock, where he would meet her at a hotel room for sex. This routine was abruptly ended when Judy's brother-in-law, Dale Bliss, was caught molesting an 8-year-old boy. When the police raided Dale's home, they allegedly found a hidden window.
Oh, come on. Well, I guess they're not letting me play it, you guys. Important videos, and they weren't going to let me play it. Okay, next one will be 5 minutes.
And whoever swore an oath or who loves this nation and says that they support our troops, please hear me. Share so the history is not erased. Sergeant Kevin Ray Lloyd is a United States Marine, and he's dying right now in Houston, Texas at MD Anderson Cancer Center. from stage 4 colorectal cancer, a 100% service-connected, combat-related injury sustained during war after toxic burn pit exposure in Iraq and Afghanistan. He's scared, he's in pain, and he's alone. There are no Marines standing watch, no honor guard, no morale, no one to remind him that his sacrifice matters. He just came out of major surgery. His body is covered in lines and drains, and still he fights with the same courage that he showed in combat. I am his ex-wife, his medical power of attorney, and his full-time caregiver. I've managed every part of his care, his medications, his central lines, and the constant communication with his care teams in the VA. But the constant stress of fighting and advocating 24/7 is pushing me to the point of collapse. I've developed hyperacusis, from the alarms, the noise, the strain, the constantly high cortisol levels, but I can't stop because if I stop, he's alone and he'll die. The Board of Naval Corrections is sitting on his medical retirement package, and bureaucratic red tape has left us waiting while his health declines. We were denied a CACO officer, denied the same end-of-life support every active duty Marine would receive. We were told if he were still active duty, we could do more. Why? Why should his loyalty end when his service did, when this is 100% service connected, a combat-related wound that was sustained during the war? If he had been shot in combat, he would have received a Purple Heart. Instead, he's been abandoned, left to die without the honor or recognition that he deserves. President Trump, please, mobilize the Marine Corps. There's an I&I unit right here in Houston with active duty Marines. Assign Marines to stand watch 24/7 at Sergeant Lloyd's bedside so that he's not alone. Let them bring him morale, brotherhood, and the pride of the Corps that shaped him. And to the VA, please, fix his benefits. Correct our caregiver pay. You know that June 23rd is the correct date and that August 24th is falsified. It's documented clearly in every page of his medical
records. Is this an old one, you guys?
I don't have the time or the energy to file another appeal. I'm exhausted. Please, just do what's right. And most urgently, please approve private duty nurses around the clock who can take shifts with me to manage his IV nutrition, his antibiotics, and his complex care. There's nurses that are ready now. Help me bring him home to his children with dignity, surrounded by love instead of machines. This isn't about blame. It's about truth. About a Marine who served his country with honor and is now dying without the support or recognition he earned 1,000 times over. If you ever swore an oath, if you ever said that you love this nation, if you've ever claimed to support our troops, please help Sergeant Lloyd. He's dying right now in Houston, Texas, without morale, without Marines beside him, and without the Purple Heart that he deserves. Millions of Americans have already rallied on TikTok and around the country to stand with him. Please keep sharing his story. Make them say his name. Make it impossible to ignore. Please. Don't let Sergeant Kevin Lee Lloyd die unseen, unheard, and alone. He carried the weight of war for this country. Now we must carry him.
Very sad story. Important one, though. Next one is 10 minutes.
Somebody reported me to the state of Michigan because I'm making money on TikTok and I drive a 2024 BMW. They have cut my food stamps from almost $4,000 a month down to $88 a month. They are telling me if I want a review
Wait, did she say she was getting $4,000 in food stamps a month? $4,000 in food stamps a month? How many children does she have? And how many children does she have out of wedlock? Hold on. I always like to give credit to the content creators. So the link is always going to be down in the description back to the content creator. And thank you guys for sending me this to react to, regardless of whether I agree with it or not. I always like to credit the content creator. So that goes without saying. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Teach Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off life. Did she say $4,000 a month? So you're being subsidized by the federal government, by taxpayers, by $4,000 a month? I just got to back up for a second and go back to the beginning and hear this in its full context before we really start to react to it. Because I don't want to get ahead of myself, and it may be something that I missed that actually, it may substantiate why she deserves it. So let me get back to the original message.
Got a DHS letter in the mail this morning, and I just now opened it. And somebody reported me to the state of Michigan because I'm making money on TikTok and I drive a 2024 BMW. They have cut my food stamps from almost $4,000 a month down to $88 a month. They are telling me if I want a review that I have to sell my car. So you're telling me if you were on welfare, food stamps, cash assistance, Section 8, you can't drive a nice car? They are forcing me to sell my brand new BMW, or I lose almost $4,000 in food stamps. Not only that, they have taken my cash assistance totally away. They are telling me that Section 8 will no longer be paying 95% of my rent, only 10% of my rent. So I will have to pay a little over $400 a month now instead of $60 a month.
She got rent that's only $400 a month?
They cannot do this. They cannot make me sell my car. They cannot cut my food stamps. Has anybody else been in a similar situation? What do I do? What kind of rights do I have? Because I can't work, but I'm not selling my car. But I also need the $4,000 food stamps. So I'm at a...
Wait. Why can't she work? Why can't she? Can somebody fill me in on why can't she work? Why can't she work? I don't understand. What's preventing her from working? I tell people this all the time. I tell black people this all the time. I had these arguments, knock down, drag down arguments on my platform on Monday nights on a regular basis where I help people to understand that the people that are on government assistance the most are white people. It's just the facts. And a lot of times, before I get to her, because there's an educational aspect to this, there's an accountability aspect to this, and so we want to have both. But before we do that, I just want to help y'all to understand that a lot of times y'all are pedestalizing. Y'all are absolutely glazing to the top of your lungs, glazing a group of people. Now, obviously, this is not applicable to all white people, the same way that everything I say about black people is not applicable to all black people. But the fact of the matter is, there are more white people on government assistance than any demographic of people inside of the United States of America. All right. Meaning that they are either finessing, struggling, evolving, and that their cultural norms are no different than your cultural norms. You just promote yours a lot more. But now that we have these social media platforms, your algorithm hopefully can start to educate you a little bit, because there are people, obviously, that feel comfortable jumping online, even after they got reported to the state of Michigan. And she's sitting here clearly able-bodied, clearly able to do a job, clearly able to do a physical job in addition to, and I don't even know how y'all starting to classify yourselves as not being able to do certain things. How can't you?
How's this one,
You're doing
guys?
it right now. In addition to that, you are a contractor, meaning that you are out here in these streets creating TikToks and generating revenue. Obviously, so much revenue that you can go and buy a new car. Now, I'm not a hater. I'm no hater. I want people to win. I want people to be able to buy cars. I want people to run up a bag. I want people to take care of business. I want people to get all the money and get all of the resources and rock out what they cock out, okay? But here's the thing. Not at the expense of taxpayers. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Not at the expense of taxpayers. You gonna have to stand on your own 2 feet. Government assistance is not meant for you to be taken care of by taxpayers. And even if you hurt, listen, you do what you can to get what you want. And if you are driving, and I 100% agree, if you are driving, thank God for the Trump administration, a 2024 BMW, instead of driving something paid off, used, and all of that, yes, you should sell your car. For those of you that may not be familiar, when you generate income, you have to pay taxes on it. When you increase your income, which then actually flies in the face of what you say your income is in order to get those food stamps, that means that you are a productive adult. Then guess what? Now you don't need taxpayer assistance in order to subsidize your life. That is not a right. You guys did not you don't get to get a stipend from the federal government for the rest of your life in order to, if you only got $400 in rent, you blessed. If you are only rocking out with $400 in rent a month, you are blessed. You are very much blessed. If you was getting $4,000 a month and taxpayer assistance as far as food stamps, I don't even know how much you can eat. Like, who is spending $4,000 at the grocery store every single month and being able to? Most of the girls that I used to know back in the hood, they used to sell their stuff at a discount and then take the money and pocket it and go and get their hair and their nails done and stuff like that. And I thought that that was disrespectful to the taxpayers, but not more than I do now, because now that I am a productive citizen, right, and I'm not a child anymore, I don't want to give my resources over to these people. And I think that that is a form of fraud, just like USAID is sending all of our taxpayer money out to these other countries and subsidizing their lifestyles in addition to getting kickbacks and fraud. I think that is fraud with the Treasury Department. And I'm liking the fact that Doge is going through and right-sizing the government and also calling out the bad actors. I think that this is just absolutely egregious and disrespectful. Is this, and she asking for help. She's asking for people. I think that honestly, I don't think that they should only just cut her off. First of all, she shouldn't be getting nothing. And secondly, I think that she should have to pay a lot of that back. I think that she should have to pay a lot of that back. Because if you're proven to be finessing and you wasn't actually using the assistance to get you through a temporary hardship that allows for you to get to a next level, then I think that you should have to pay that back. But that's just my opinion personally. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Again, I always like to link.
That was interesting, huh? Well, here's another one. $21 on this one.
Sit at home and make more money than you do and still drive a nice vehicle doesn't mean you need to go rat me out.
They're also buying things like junk food in addition to really prime cuts of steak, flaunting full shopping carts in a time where people are struggling to put food on the table. It is disgusting. What kind of world are we living in where people are flaunting and rage baiting how much food stamps they get and what they do with them on social media? So I want to bring this up for discussion today because I find it completely and totally disgusting. But before I watch some of these clips and react with you guys, I want to first disclose the place in which I am coming from with this. Because I know that the act of welfare and food assistance, I know that all of that can be a very, very sensitive topic. So a lot of you that might not know a lot about me, I used to be on food stamps multiple times in my life. When I was married to my first husband 17 or 18 years ago, and we had a brand new baby, we also had 3 other children in the house that were his from a previous marriage, and we were receiving food stamps. And at that time, it was not something to be proud of. We were not on food stamps forever, but we did use it for a very short period of time. I was then again on food stamps later in life when I left my first husband, and it was just $1 a month in food stamps for me and my 5-year-old. But I will say this, the moment I got a job, the state took those away. And if I'm being honest, how I felt about that was not good. I needed those food stamps and they took them away. And I don't want to get into too much detail because that's not what this video is about. From having those 2 experiences with food stamps in my own personal life, I could see one thing: the system was broken. Almost 20 years ago, when we had food stamps, it was easy to stay on them because we had a lot of kids and our circumstances made it easy for the state to keep us approved. However, later in life, when I was a single mom of a 5-year-old and I really needed that assistance, the state was very, very quick to take it away just because I got a job paying me $12.50 an hour. They didn't even wait for me to get my first paycheck before taking my benefits away. But you know, desperation breeds ingenuity, and I figured it out and I made it happen. But even still, when I see these people rage baiting and flaunting their food stamps on social media, it gives me real ick, just because of my own personal life experiences with being in the system and needing some sort of food assistance. So full disclosure, this video might be triggering.
The best thing about being a big family is the food stamps that we get, and there's so many people criticizing it. It's so crazy. Like, why would I need to work more for the food stamps that I'm getting? And so many people are criticizing how much I get. Like, you know, I was actually being shorted, and I'm gonna get an increase next month, and I'm pregnant, so that's even more food stamps. So why is there a need for me to work if I can have all the food that I want and stay home? I don't really know what people don't understand about that, but I'm over here enjoying my food stamps and eating my steaks.
That last little comment, man, oh, that got under my skin. I'll just sit over here eating my steaks. So she's saying that she's a family of 7, soon to be 8 people, and she receives $1,400 a month in food stamps. $1,400 a month she gets. Now, here's the thing. If you're receiving $1,400 to spend on food every single month, of course there's not going to be an incentive to go out and get a job. Think about how much work you would have to do to earn $1,400 to just turn around and spend it on food. She sees absolutely no reason to go get a job. That is part of the reason why, in my opinion, the system is broken. They're giving people reasons to not work just by handing them, quote, free money. But we all know that money is not really free money. It's gotta come from somewhere.
I almost just got arrested again. This time for welfare fraud. I was going to Walmart like I do every week. I get food stamps, so I get between 5 and 7 24 packs of like the cheap Walmart brand pop or whatever.
That's something else too I don't agree with. I don't think that you should be able to buy things like soda with food stamps. Like I have such strong opinions, and this comes from experience. Like I have known people in my real life that have been on food stamps, and the amount of food that is just absolute highly processed junk, it's insane. SNAP benefits should be there for nutritious food that is going to nourish your body. Did you know that a bag of chips is like $5 to $7 now for one bag of chips? And that's if you're not buying it on sale, right? $5 to $7 for one bag of chips. You could take that $5 to $7 and you could buy a pound or two of lean ground beef. You can use that $5 to $7 and you could buy a giant bag of apples. A 12 pack of soda is $10 now. $10. How much food can you buy for the same cost of 12 cans of a beverage? Like, I had a feeling this was gonna be a hard video for me, but I wanna do it anyway because I wanna shed some light on this because I feel very, very strongly about this and I have a feeling a lot of you do also.
Have you guys seen this? I thought last year was bad, but it looks like it's gonna be another brutal cold season.
The ones that you get 10 cents back for every, can or whatever. And I use my food stamps to buy the pop, and then I go out to the parking lot and I pour them all out. This girl and her husband with their family were next to me in their.
So she's using food stamps to buy soda, and she gets 10 cents for every can. So let's say she's buying a 12 pack of soda. She's spending how much money on a 12 pack of soda that's food stamps, government assisted funds, to just go out to the parking lot, pour out the cans, and get 10 cents a can? She's essentially spending $10 of government funded money to make $1.20 in cash. This is disgusting. Right now, I'm upset with the fact that she says, I was almost just arrested. Why weren't you?
And with their family were next to me in their car, and they freaking called the cops. The cops show up as I've got like over 100 freaking Walmart pop cans all around me, and they told me to stop where I was at and put my hands up. They gave me a warning. They say next time they catch me pouring Walmart pop out in the Walmart parking lot, they're going to arrest me for welfare fraud. And now I'm going to lose my food stamps.
So cops approached her with 100 plus pop cans around her. So 100 pop cans at 10 cents a piece, that's $10. She literally dumped out 100 plus cans of soda that was paid for with government assisted funds to make $10 in cash. And people saw her doing it in the parking lot, called a police officer, and the police officer warned her, you better not ever do this again or you will lose your food stamps. But karma came quick because it looks like she did lose her food stamps.
So I decided to open up my DHS mail that I had sitting in my thing for a few days now. Yeah, they took my food stamps. Yeah. Good. They took my food stamps from the thing that happened last week with the pop cans and dumping them out in the Walmart parking lot.
Good.
To get cash, like I've always done. And the cop said he could have arrested me, but he wasn't going to, but he had to report it to the state.
Good.
I didn't think he would actually report it.
Yeah.
So not only are they taking my food stamps away and my cash benefits, they are making me repay everything from the last year.
Good.
Do you know how much that is?
I don't care.
The number is right here. $23,678 they want me to pay back.
Time to go get a damn job then. Go get a job. I have zero chill today.
I can't afford groceries with the food stamps that they were giving me. How do they expect me to pay it back then?
Maybe you could have afforded food with the food stamps you were getting before if you weren't squandering so much of it on soda cans that you were just emptying out in the parking lot to get 10 cents a can. How much money were you spending in soda? Let's see, she said 100 cans. Let's call that, let's say she was doing 10 12 packs, right? $100 she was using on soda cans to turn around and get like $10, $15 in cash. Maybe you should have been using that $100 to buy food. Then you would have had enough food money with the food stamps you were given.
Does anybody know if there's like an appeal? Can I appeal this? It doesn't say.
Even if you did appeal it, you're the dumbass putting all of this on the internet. Yeah, let's appeal it and then have you incriminating yourself on social media. She's real bright. Now, one more of this lady, and then I'm moving on from her because she's got my blood boiling. Let's find out about the kind of car she's driving, shall we?
I don't know why everybody is hating on me for driving a 2025 Tahoe and getting food stamps. I've been getting food stamps, cash assistance, disability, Section 8 for over 15 years. Okay? I qualify, and I have been qualified for all of those things. Okay? This is what I am owed. This is what we are all owed. You can go do the same thing. Just because you're upset that I can sit at home and make more money than you do and still drive a nice vehicle doesn't mean you need to go rat me out. And how did you even know that I drive? I never posted my vehicle on any social media. Trying to force me to sell my Tahoe. No, I'm not selling my Tahoe, and you're not taking away my welfare. That is, I deserve.
So the caption on her video reads, someone reported me to DHS because I drive a 2025 Tahoe and get over $3,300 in food stamps and $900 in cash benefits. Just because I get welfare, I can't drive a nice vehicle. No! A 2025? There's plenty of nice vehicles that aren't brand new $50,000 plus vehicles.
Hey, there's
you can
Ann,
have a
about
nice
time,
vehicle.
Ann.
It doesn't need to be the newest year model 2025.
We got
Are you freaking
9
kidding
minutes
me?
on this
Are
one.
you kidding me right now? All right, I gotta get away from this woman. I've had
Football
enough.
game,
I'm just
Ann.
glad that justice was served and she lost some of her benefits.
I sent you the Kay's niece went to TCU, so you guys can argue about the game tomorrow. And what do you guys think of this last two videos?
Am.
Okay, yes, I am going in 2025 with my 8 kids and still getting my food stamps. I don't care how y'all feel or what y'all think. I'm not letting my plug go. My plug is with me at all times, and he's getting everybody right. And we don't care about no 2025 because, baby, we are loaded with food stamps. With my 8 kids, yes. So either you're going to get you some stamps or just be quiet. One or the other. Do you need me to call my plug? My plug can hook you up right now. We don't care about no president. We don't care about none of that. Because they scam us. Who cares? Beat the system. Okay? Because I love my 4K, baby. I love it over here. I love my 4K and stamps. So what? You heard it right here. Your girl, Miss EBT Queen of 2024, is still going to be EBT Queen of 2025. Do you hear me?
$4,000 a month in food stamps. Now, if she and her family need it, okay. I genuinely don't want this to be a video where it's like I'm bashing somebody for getting assistance, because that's not what this is. Why are you on social media flaunting it and talking about beating the system? That's where I have a problem.
Here are 4 reasons on why I will never get a job. Number 1, if I get a job, they will cut off my food stamps. And I'm not gonna risk that. How dumb would I be to get a job and then they're either gonna cut my stamps in half or take them away completely? Not gonna happen. Then that means that I have to take out money from my pocket to pay for food. No thanks.
Far be it from you to actually take your own money to buy food. Like, these people, they baffle me, man. They freaking baffle me.
Why would I take money out of my own bank account and buy food for me and my family?
Gee, I don't know. Maybe because that's what most people do? Oh my God.
Number 2, I am not a morning person. There is no way that you'll see me awake before 11 o'clock. It's just not gonna happen.
What?
And that morning traffic is ridiculous. So no, I'd rather be in bed. 3rd reason why I don't work or
we would all rather be in bed. But sometimes, princess, you gotta work. We would all rather just be in bed. That's not life. Like, she's freaking delusional.
I'm not gonna ever work is because then I would have to pay bills. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna work just to pay rent, pay utilities. Not gonna happen. My husband could do all that. No thanks. I'd rather spend my money going out, eating, buying stuff, not paying bills. So what's the point of working if I have to waste it on bills? Just not gonna happen. And the fourth reason is because I am allergic to responsibilities. Every time I try, it's just no. I break out in highs. Like I'm literally allergic to it. I just can't do it. So at the end of the day, why waste energy working when the government sends me checks to live my best life?
Okay, that has to be just straight up rage bait. Like, first of all, does your husband know what you're saying? Because I know if I was talking like that, my husband would have divorce papers for me within the hour.
I don't have to do that. I don't have to do that. My husband can do all that.
Okay, there's that. Second thing that I'm kind of confused about and why I think this is just rage bait. If your husband is working, why are you getting benefits? Because I'm pretty sure, unless it differs state to state, I'm pretty sure that if you're married, the whole household income is what matters. So why are you getting benefits if your husband is working? The math doesn't math there.
And another thing, y'all know that Trump is trying to make it to where only working citizens is about to be eligible for Section 8 and food stamps.
In my opinion, that should have been the case anyway. The government should not be giving you financial benefits if you aren't willing to work. If you are actively trying to find work, yes, you should get benefits. You should absolutely get benefits. Just like going back to when I was a single mom and I had a 5-year-old son. This was like 13 years ago, right? I was actively pursuing a job, but the minute that I reported that I found a job, they ripped benefits away from me, and I was only getting $220 a month. This was back in 2012. Okay. So back in 2012, I was getting $220 a month.
Have your garbage bag
approximately
next to you. I got a short clip I gotta play you.
So for a month and a half, I was getting food stamps for me and my son. The minute I reported getting a job, they snatched
like I said, always to Jody Carey.
Immediately. They didn't even wait for me to get my first paycheck yet. They ripped it away, which I understand. Okay, fine. I got a job. That's all well and cool. But did you have to take it away immediately? You couldn't let me get 1 extra month so that I could get my paychecks rolling in? Because you'd think that they would understand if you are without a job, or in my circumstance, I was going through a really messy divorce and I had bills accumulating from trying to find a new place to live and taking on my son all by myself. You'd think that they would have given me a grace period so that I could dig myself out of any holes I might have been in before they took away the food stamps. But no, they didn't. And, even though that entire situation kind of gave me a really negative experience with dealing with state assistance, I do believe that if you are actively pursuing work, you should still be allowed to have benefits. However, if you are not actively pursuing work, you should not have access to it at all.
Okay, just a couple minutes left.
So Trump is supposedly changing the requirements to qualify for EBT, Section 8, and welfare. So if you are on these things or trying to get on these things, Trump is requiring you to work at least 30 hours a week to maintain or qualify for these assistances. This is one of those changes that he's making that I don't think I'm upset with, because a lot of people use these assistances as crutches because they know that they can rely on this and don't have to do anything or do the bare minimum. So he's kind of pulling that crutch away from them and taking that dependency away from them. So I don't think I'm mad with this one.
And that's why I'm saying desperation breeds ingenuity. If you take things away, it gives people an opportunity to figure it out. Just absolutely figure it out. Because as we saw on so many of the clips at the beginning of the video, As we saw, there's so many people that are absolutely exploiting benefits, flaunting it online. They're doing things like buying cans of soda, dumping out the soda and returning the cans for cash, which, ooh, that lady got under my skin bad. They're also buying things like junk food in addition to really prime cuts of steak, flaunting full shopping carts in a time where people are struggling to put food on the table. It is disgusting. It's gross. And I really, really hope that the system sees change starting in 2020.
So I hope those were 2 important videos there. Remember that your lady on TikTok, Kay, how she said about getting assistance for the food stamps. So they're saying that lady was right about what she was saying. Guess who? Okay, we got, see where I'm at here. Did you guys remember? Remember, this one is about 4 minutes. I don't know how they expect you to read all that.
The story over the Indian illegal alien.
That was weird. Okay, let's see what I got the next one. Two-minute ones, next 2. Then we'll get some Vinny videos in.
Off South America in the latest escalation and buildup of military forces in the region. The Pentagon announcing this moments ago here today. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth ordered the USS Gerald R. Ford and its strike group to deploy to the U.S. Southern Command to, quote, bolster U.S. capacity to detect, monitor, and disrupt illicit actors and activities that compromise the safety and prosperity of the United States. Pentagon spokesman Sean Parnell said that in a social media post. The USS Ford is currently deployed in the Mediterranean Sea along with 3 destroyers. It would likely take several days for the ships to make the journey to South America. And I also wanted to just share some of this video that we did just pull for you here as well. Deploying an aircraft carrier is a major escalation of military power in a region that has already seen an unusually large U.S. military buildup in the Caribbean Sea and the waters off Venezuela. Hours before Parnell announced this news, Hegseth said the military had conducted the 10th strike on a suspected drug-running boat, leaving 6 people dead and bringing the death count for the strikes that began in early September to at least 43 people. The Pentagon told reporters it had nothing further to add beyond that statement. Hegseth said the vessel struck overnight and was operated by the Tren de Aragua gang. It was the second time the Trump administration has tied one of its operations to the gang that originated in a Venezuelan prison. The pace of the strikes has quickened in recent days, from 1 every few weeks when they first began to 3 this week, killing a total of at least 43 people since September. 2 of the most recent strikes were carried out in the eastern Pacific Ocean, expanding the area where the military has launched attacks and shifting to where much of the cocaine from the world's largest producers is smuggled. So once again, we're bringing this to you here on Live Now from Fox as we did learn this breaking news. Let's put this back up on your screen here as we are sharing with you, if you are just tuning in, that the U.S. military is now sending an aircraft carrier to the waters off of South America. This latest escalation and buildup of military force.
So that was a 2-minute clip. I got another 2-minute one.
Killing 3 in a DUI crash. California Governor Gavin Newsom has acknowledged that that illegal alien had a California CDL, but he is pointing the finger away. He is pointing the finger at the feds. This is what he said to Fox. He said, "This is a tragic situation, and as every other tragedy of the last 10 months, Secretary Noem has ordered Secretary Duffy to look for every opportunity to manipulate the facts to score cheap political points. But the federal government needs to look within before they blame outside." The federal government approved and renewed this individual's federal employment authorization multiple times, which allowed him to obtain a CDL in accordance with federal law. Now, we should just state the facts here. That was under the Biden administration, Stephen. But is it the case that a federal work permit just requires him to rubber stamp a California CDL?
No. So, look, this is a Democrat-caused calamity, heartbreaking calamity. The first crime against Americans was the Biden administration's decision to voluntarily free and release from custody an illegal alien within hours of crossing the southern border. Again, let's go back to the unending nightmare that we lived through for 4 years under Biden, where single adult men in groups, in caravans, or traveling alone would show up at the border, present themselves, announce, "I'm here illegally, I've invaded your country, I demand entry." And Biden would order the Border Patrol at taxpayer expense to ferry them on to the destination of their choice, in this case, California. That happened in 2022. The Biden administration did one other thing. Donald Trump issued a regulation barring work permits for illegal aliens. Biden reversed that regulation, mandated work permits for illegal aliens, issued him a work permit. And by the way, we're now being sued by every leftist group you can imagine trying to get us to keep giving work permits to illegal aliens because that's what leftists want. Then Gavin Newsom, in his state, has a policy to give commercial driver's licenses to individuals who do not know how to speak English and do not know how to drive. Those are policy choices that Governor Newsom and his state have made. So it's one Democrat policy choice after another.
Okay, I'll get the next 2, then we get Q, and then we'll get to the, I believe these are new ones.
Profiling of police over stopping the murders that are terrorizing innocent Americans in their own cities. Their real goal? Shield illegals while undermining the agents who safeguard our sovereignty. And Governor J.B. Pritzker, he's pushing it even further. He's threatening to jail ICE agents outright.
The Commission will collect testimony, hold hearings, and gather information and firsthand accounts. We can do the work so those who break the law are held to account, so this chaos will stop. And so nothing like it ever happens again.
Democrats are working harder to track ICE than they are illegals. Or what about the children Joe Biden lost? Why don't they track and find them? I know the Trump administration has had some success so far, but no Democrat has helped with a single hand in that one. I mean, they care more about the illegal criminals than they do the illegal children that are trafficked into this country. They care more about giving free health care to people who broke our laws than helping American citizens that are struggling under their failed policies. If they really cared about the people they serve, the government would not be shut down, and Democrat-run cities would not look like scenes from a war movie. And now here comes Nancy Pelosi. Never one to miss a bad idea. Now claiming California could arrest federal immigration agents if they violate state law. She even bragged that President Trump couldn't pardon these people because the charges would be state charges. Well, the former speaker and the governor of Illinois, they might want to crack open a copy of the Constitution because it's not complicated. Federal law is supreme. If states start locking up federal agents for doing their jobs, we don't have a United States anymore. We've got 50 little dictatorships. Think about where that leads. Texas arresting IRS agents for collecting taxes. Florida jailing FBI agents for opening investigations they don't like.
Yeah, the 4-minute clip, that's all it was. Did you remember that? So I don't know what they're doing on that, but is there another video? Or was that the one you were talking about?
That's not democracy. That's a massive food fight. And this isn't about compassion or protecting immigrants for the Democrats. It's about power. It's about California trying to crown itself king over federal law. Fortunately, Pam Bondi, she's not playing along. She's launching an investigation into Pelosi and others for their reckless behavior. Nancy Pelosi needs to go retire and enjoy her ice cream collection because she's done enough damage in her years. This latest stunt, it just reeks of desperation to cling to relevance. If she's so eager to target lawbreakers, why ignore Antifa, who are openly recruiting and training new radicals? See what unfolds when an independent journalist sneaks into their camps and gets a behind-the-scenes look. Watch this.
Okay, that was one more I got. Then we get to Q. And then the Bennett videos.
Stopping the murders that are terrorizing innocent Americans in their own cities. Their real goal? Shield illegals while undermining the agents who safeguard our sovereignty. And Governor J.B. Pritzker, he's pushing it even further. He's threatening to jail ICE agents outright.
The commission will collect testimony, hold hearings, and gather information and firsthand accounts. We can do the work so those who break the law are held to account. So this chaos will stop. And so nothing like it ever happens again.
Democrats are working harder to track ICE than they are illegals. Or what about the children Joe Biden lost? Why don't they track and find them? I know the Trump administration has had some success so far, but no Democrat has helped with a single hand in that one. I mean, they care more about the illegal criminals than they do the illegal children that are trafficked into this country. They care more about giving free health care to people who broke our laws than helping American citizens that are struggling under their failed policies. If they really cared about the people they serve, the government would not be shut down, and Democrat-run cities would not look like scenes from a war movie. And now here comes Nancy Pelosi. Never one to miss a bad idea. Now claiming California could arrest federal immigration agents if they violate state law. She even bragged that President Trump couldn't pardon these people because the charges would be state charges. Well, the former speaker and the governor of Illinois, they might want to crack open a copy of the Constitution because it's not complicated. Federal law is supreme. If states start locking up federal agents for doing their jobs, we don't have a United States anymore. We've got 50 little dictatorships. Think about where that leads. Texas arresting IRS agents for collecting taxes. Florida jailing FBI agents for opening investigations they don't like. That's not democracy. That's a massive food fight. And this isn't about compassion or protecting immigrants for the Democrats. It's about power. It's about California trying to crown itself king over federal law. Fortunately, Pam Bondi, she's not playing along. She's launching an investigation into Pelosi and others for their reckless behavior. Nancy Pelosi needs to go retire and enjoy her ice cream collection because she's done enough damage in her years. This latest stunt, it just reeks of desperation to cling to relevance.
Oh, is this the same
if she's
one,
so
you
eager
guys?
to target lawbreakers, why ignore Antifa, who are openly recruiting and training new radicals?
Whoops.
See what unfolds when an independent journalist sneaks into their camps and gets a behind-the-scenes look. Watch this.
Well, there's only a 2-minute one. It was over. So we'll do Q now. Oh wait, yeah, Q, and then I'm playing this one other one I want to play before Benny's videos. Four and a half.
Much. I don't get a chance to do often, to actually sit on the deck and enjoy some time, but I had to come and talk to my family. So just finished up with a video with Doug Tenaple in exile. Make sure you guys check out Doug. If you are not currently subscribed to him, make sure you subscribe to Doug in exile. He does a fantastic job. Great friend, great patriot, love the guy. But wanted to come to you guys and talk to you guys about something really quick. So if you guys have been watching the news and paying attention, you guys know that there is a government shutdown. You'd have to be watching and paying attention, because otherwise your life probably hasn't changed a whole heck of a lot. We have a government that's so large at this point that we're starting to realize that they don't have a whole lot of purpose except to collect a lot of money. But what do we actually get out of it? Another day, another time. But it was so exciting and interesting to me to see that there was a $130 million donation made anonymously by a patriot by the name of Timothy Mellon. Now, he didn't want to be mentioned. He didn't put his name on it. He was essentially doxxed by President Trump, because President Trump wanted to thank him for what he had done. Now, it was cool to me. He specifically gifted this money for the military, because many of them with this shutdown are not getting paid. He wanted to make sure that the military men and women who were serving were actually getting paid to be able to take care of their families. Now, mind you, this shutdown had nothing to do with the Republicans, had everything to do with Democrats saying, if you guys won't fund our special interests, if you guys will not fund our health care for illegals, then we're just not going to pay the military or any other Americans for that matter. And because of that, Donald Trump said, okay, own it. If you guys want to play that game, then be prepared to play that game. But we're not going to budge on this. We're not sending money to illegals. Well, this great patriot said, you know what? I want to make sure that these people are getting paid. So he put $130 million of his own money out there anonymously. Guys, this is the spirit of MAGA. This is the reason why this country is on its way back. Because the good guys, the people who actually care about the country, if there is something that they truly care about and love, they will put their money on top of it. We saw this when people donated to the Trump campaign. We saw this when people donated to Charlie Kirk. We saw this over and over again when patriots stood up and took care of other patriots. Now, on the other side, contrasting, we'll see the left talk about, oh, we need to pay more. We need to pay more taxes in so that we can get homeless people off the street. We need to pay more money in so that we can save the planet. We need to pay more money in. But how many of them were actually willing to write a check and send that money in anonymously and say, hey, we have a problem. I have means. I want to take care of it. I want to pay it. This man did it from his ranch in Wyoming, 82 years old, by himself, did not ask for any recognition for it. This is what is going to save America. I'm so proud to be even able to speak of this guy, because this is what is going to save our nation. This is the difference. We are people of action. We are people who, if we believe in doing something, we are willing to put our hearts, our minds, our money behind it. I just wanted to come on here and give this guy a little bit of credit, because
Timothy Mellon is truly a true patriot. Comment below. Let me know what you guys think about this. Check out the other.
We'll go to the 3-hour mark, so it's 2:04, so we'll go 55 minutes. So, Lori, I found another one that's a minute and a half. I can't remember if I played it. You guys remember that? Then that let me play it. Oh, well. This one I'm playing has a lot of views on it before we get to the other one. This lady on YouTube.
Tunnel or a bridge connecting the States and Russia. Zelensky looked stunned. He said he didn't like it. Of course he didn't. Watch this.
This came up yesterday, a tunnel from Russia to Alaska. That's an interesting. What do you think of that, Mr. President? Do you have any ideas? How do you like that idea?
I'm not happy with this.
I don't think you're going to like it. I don't think he liked it. I don't think he liked it.
No, he certainly did not like it. Imagine if America and Russia were trading instead of fighting. If we were building together instead of bombing each other's proxies, a lot of people in Washington and Kiev would suddenly have a lot less power and a lot less money. But here's the thing. This idea isn't new. It's called the Bering Strait Project, a proposal to connect the 70 miles between Alaska and Russia, literally linking the continents of North America and Eurasia. And engineers have talked about it for decades. Some estimates say it could be built for around $8 billion and finished in 8 years. Elon Musk's Boring Company has even been mentioned as a possible builder long before Trump ever brought it up. One man had already been promoting that vision, Lyndon LaRouche. Back in the late 1970s, LaRouche was already talking about connecting the continents, turning geopolitical rivals into economic partners. His wife, Helga Zepp LaRouche, has carried that vision forward through the Schiller Institute, arguing that peace through development is the only way to end the cycle of endless war. Joining me now is the founder of the Schiller Institute, Helga Zepp LaRouche, someone who's been advocating this exact project for decades. Helga, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
This one has 41,000.
Okay, you've been talking about the Schiller Institute. Your late husband, yourself, been talking about this Bering Strait for a long time. Tell us what the importance of this would be. What would the use be for this bridge or tunnel or just a connection between the two nations? What would it be used for? What would the importance be?
It has importance on many levels. One naturally is that if the two largest nuclear powers would switch from confrontation to cooperation, this would be a game changer in, the immediate strategic situation, which I think we are on the edge of a catastrophe. And it would be a bridge, a bridge between the two continents, the Americas. It would connect the Americas with the Eurasian landmass. And, potentially through the Strait of Gibraltar, where a tunnel is being planned also, it would connect to Africa. So it would have an enormous strategic importance. But I think more importantly, it would really be a game changer to end the era of hovering at the edge of a potential World War III and start really a period where a new paradigm in international relations could seriously be built. So I think this is of the highest importance. Now, the economic side of it is also incredible, because once you connect the Americas with Russia and the whole Eurasian continent, it would open up enormous investments, because it would not just be a transport line between A and B, but it would be a corridor, an economic corridor where you would have highways, railways, energy production and distribution, communication. And that way it would open up the vast areas of the Far East of Russia for economic investments. Now, in the last several years, the Vladivostok East Economic Forum always featured investments in the Far East, in Siberia. Much of this area is under permanent frost conditions, therefore it's not so easy. But once you open it up through infrastructure, it would give access to all the elements in the periodic table of Mendeleev, that is, all the raw materials. And that's why Putin has offered many times in the past that also other countries could invest in this area, countries which are poor of raw materials, who are poor of energy. And it would really be an unbelievable investment possibility, leading to enormous economic prosperity for everybody who is participating in it. So I can only hope that the people around the Trump administration, who are businessmen for the large part, can prevail in seeing the economic benefit apart from the strategic calming down effect this would have.
Right now, how are goods moved? Are goods moved at all between Russia and the United States in this 70-mile stretch? I mean, are they shipped over, or is it just not even being used at all? Do we know?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understood your question.
Well, right now, because we don't have that bridge, we don't have a tunnel or a bridge connecting these 70 miles between the two countries. I would imagine that once this is built, there would be, like you're saying, there would be a lot of trade. These raw materials would be traded. There would be a lot of movement. But I mean, what's stopping them from? Are they doing anything now? I mean, are they at least shipping it? Like getting to the edge of Russia and being like, load the boats, and then the boats go to Alaska, and then they land in Alaska. I mean, are they doing anything at all right now, or is this, and it's just like, well, shipping is really slow, and you can't, obviously if you have a bridge or rail lines, you can move things a lot faster. Are they loading the boats right now and like sail them off 70 miles? Or is it just, we don't even trade with them because of our hostility?
Well, I don't think that the particular Bering Strait is being used right now because it's not, it's not, you cannot just travel over there by ship or so.
We'll finish
there
off
are no
with
developed port
mini
facilities. And in general, the sanctions which now have been imposed on Russia just now against the oil companies, that's all going in the wrong direction. This is why to change the strategic outlook in terms of these two countries cooperating on something which would be a true game changer, it would completely turn upside down the present relationship towards one of building trust, building mutual cooperation, building bridges and tunnels. Yesterday, we had a very important seminar on the topic where we had the top people from the United States and the Russian side participating in our panel. I think if you would put the link under this show, it would be very beneficial for people to watch it, because we had Ras Begin, who was the deputy head of the SOPs in Russia for many, many years. That's the institution for investment between the Academy of Science and the Economic Ministry. And they, for many decades, were developing, ideas about this. And very importantly, between the United States and Russia, they started to update a feasibility study this April, that's 6 months ago, which means that both sides have pursued this policy with a steady interest. So one can only hope that, that despite the present incredibly, the thing which drives everybody a little bit crazy right now, including myself, I have to admit, yesterday when we had the seminar.
I don't know what she was saying. Sorry about that video. I don't know how I got so many views on it. So we'll get 4 billion here. This one, the first one, 10 minutes.
What's up, guys? Benny. Politics is a profession of liars, and so the people that often rise to the top of that profession are the most successful liars, and that perfectly is true when it comes to the Clintons, a family that literally lied their way into the White House, were prosecuted for their lies, impeached for their lies, and ladies and gentlemen, they continue their lies this day. President Trump said that he'd put Hillary in jail. We await for that promise to be kept. Maybe it will be. But of all the lies that the Clintons have told on a professional political landscape, are any as egregious as this? This is what Hillary Clinton's social media avatar is. It's the cover of her book, her newest book about her life. That's all she writes about, is how smart she is and how wise she is, and how incredible her life is and how stupid you are. Anyway, this is what Hillary Clinton wants you to think that she looks like. Is that true? Well, why don't we check a recent video of Hillary Clinton and see if they match, okay? Here we go.
Global initiative started by my husband will work closely with SEWA and with our partners.
What the hell is this?
The American India Foundation, the Adrian Arsht Rockefeller Foundation Resilience Center.
The more you look at it, the more you realize that Hillary doesn't actually look like whatever the hell this is. It must be AI, airbrushed. Just giving the Kardashians a run for their money. She looks a lot more like George Soros, right? It's like, it really, like, this is what you've morphed into. This is what Hillary Clinton has become. Isn't it the same? They're like the same, right? From this, all right, to this. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. I mean, the point is that, like, not necessarily that Hillary Clinton is hideous. That is also the case, but that the Clintons have been lying for their entire careers, but it's catching up to them. And Bill Clinton is not only looking really wobbly these days, but is also traveling with some pretty heavy medical gear. He's been very unhealthy for a very long time, and Bill Clinton is now traveling with a defibrillator, and a new video out shows Bill Clinton to be quite unstable. People are very worried about him. Bill Clinton seen with a defibrillator at the Hamptons airport, sparking new health concerns. Looking kind of gaunt and skinny. The Epstein news cycle probably not the best for him. Hillary not looking any better for the wear either. Jeez. Oh, man. Bill, your girlfriend. Bill Clinton with a defibrillator. Health questions explode. Health records included quadruple bypass, stents, collapsed lung surgery, sepsis treatment, repeated hospital stays, and he recently stumbled on a New York sidewalk. There you go. You can watch here Bill Clinton nearly fall over. He's walking. He wobbles and can barely keep himself. He needs to, like, use a post to keep himself upright. Yeah, not looking great, dudes. Bill Clinton health scares abound. The recent video that is making all the rounds, Bill Clinton looks frailer than ever during shocking gala speech, where onlookers reveal that he's kind of like Joe Biden now. Sad to watch. Worrying signs, and the audience is stunned. Ailing former President Bill Clinton's son guest at a glitzy New York City gala with multiple obvious issues that suggested he was increasingly poor health. 79-year-old wore a Band-Aid on his nose, visibly shook as he turned the pages of his speech and made at least one uncomfortably long pause during the Headstrong to Support Free Mental Health Care for Veterans event on Wednesday. It's unclear why Clinton was sporting a Band-Aid, although he's previously been treated for a precancerous lesion on the same body part. The frail former commander-in-chief spoke in low, halting voice as he handed out the award to a Navy SEAL. An onlooker who was at the event told the Daily Mail it was sad to watch. The room was dead silent when he spoke because of his low voice. He was speaking so slowly, nobody knew what he was going to say. It was, anyway, let's go ahead and go to tape. Here's what it looked like.
After he got out of the Navy, he went into the Secret Service and did a whole lot of other things that were important. I admire that he was really proud. His son became a SEAL. He could have quit after what he went through in the military. He could have quit after what he went through with the Secret Service.
You know, it's amazing. Like, he and President Trump are the same age. Isn't it wild? The differences. You can see here the massive bandage on his nose. An old person would have something like that on his face if he, again, had a cancerous lesion that was taken off. Or perhaps fell. You know, a lot of old people fall and they bust up their nose. This would be something that you would hit. Joe Biden constantly had bruises all over his face. And yikes, man. Yeah, you can hear him halting and not really able to make super clear remarks. People were worried. Again, you can see the massive bandage on his nose. Again, if you're looking like this as you're walking, you know, if you're walking and you're barely able to stand upright. I'm not trying to dunk on the guy. I mean, I guess like everyone gets older, but what I'm trying to say is that, you know, we all like, I guess like some of us live out past our prime. This is such a sad video of Bill Clinton trying to like walk into a bookstore and like, and Zoomer kids are just like, get out of my way, right? Look at this. They don't even stop. They don't know who the hell this guy is. Nobody does, actually. Bill Clinton's like trying to, you know, cause a stir, cause a crowd, get noticed. Everyone's like, get out of my way. Like this dude's like, got my kid. I got to get places. I got to do things. No one cares. No one cares, dude. This is Bill Clinton who's been let out of his prison sentence. This is Bill Clinton's prison sentence.
These people will stop at nothing. And yes, the Russians helped them last time. The Russians are helping them now. And you cover the White House. You know that the White House has said, don't brief the Congress. Don't even tell them in classified settings what the Russians are doing
and
this
he did
time.
nothing wrong, Hillary.
Could you imagine living? Look at poor Bill Clinton. Could you imagine that? I know Bill Clinton probably will never go to jail for what he's done.
Or whoever you are.
Wow. What a jail sentence, having to live with that. Hillary Clinton looks like she was hit by a freight train. Oh, man. Onlookers didn't recognize him or deemed him irrelevant. Bill can hardly walk. Bill and Hillary look ghastly. It's just like a little lesson. When your time's over, just like play the music off. You don't got to be making speeches anymore. Joe Biden didn't have to run for president. Everybody knew that the guy was already cooked. They just do this kind of stuff for power. It's goblin behavior. Go spend time with your grandkids. Go like garden. Go do like the kind of little things that bring joy to people and actual happiness and purpose.
Thanks for doing
They're
that.
still like rattling around the bottom of the barrel, trying to get money, trying to give these like horrible speeches. I mean, geez, like what are you doing? This is Hillary, Hildebeest in India.
Not
You know, it's from
Hillary.
last year. She's in India. What is she doing there? Ugh, looks like she drank the water. It's terrible. Hang it up, you know? Hang it up is what I say. But they're not going to listen to me. Maybe someday they will. I don't know. But I do know this, that you can like, share, and subscribe and hear more. And I listen to you. And it's your boy, Benny. See ya.
Okay, guys, we're down home stretch here. I'm going to try to get 3 in. This will be the second one. Oh, wait. What am I doing? Oh, this next one is Pusky. Pusky. Seven minutes.
What's up, guys? Benny Libs accuse us of being racist, but have you ever checked in on their timelines? Very interesting if you search some of the more popular left-wing pundits in independent and alternative media who are constantly being platformed, like Jennifer Welsh saying that all white people are racist. I'm a white woman that lived in a red state my entire life, and I can tell you, I'm around white people. They test the racist water. They test it on people like you all the time, she says to black people on a panel. Okay. Going after Mike Johnson for being on Grindr. Jennifer Welsh saying Stephen Miller is a white supremacist, and he's a Jewish Nazi. He's a Nazi Jew, she says. Stephen Miller is a Nazi sociopath. He's an insecure little white supremacist. His own parents hated him. Who are these demons? Like, it's like, I don't like libs, but like, I feel like, you know, you make a Joe Biden smooth brain joke every once in a while, but like, no, who talks like this? Jennifer Welsh says white Trump voters shouldn't be allowed to eat at Mexican and Chinese restaurants. They should only go to Cracker Barrel. That's the meanest thing I've heard yet. It's utterly unhinged. I mean, these people really, like, it's the, I don't know, the plastic surgery, I guess, gets into the skull. Abby Phillips is the CNN. She's like the next big thing on CNN. She doesn't even bat an eye when these wine mom, broke brain, blue and on sociopaths like go, you know, Stephen Miller's a Nazi.
Stephen Miller is a white supremacist. I mean, he is, and he's basically running the White House. They keep Trump busy with his decorating projects. He's got building the arch now. He's got his Oval Office design. And then you have these real sociopaths that are real anti-Semites, true white supremacists like Stephen Miller. And even though he's Jewish, he's like a Nazi Jew.
Well, look, I can't speak to what Stephen Miller's motivations are. I've met him. I've talked to him. I've interviewed him.
How tall is he? Yeah, we're dying to know.
Oh God, I can't remember that.
Short?
I truly cannot remember.
Okay.
I am short, so my understanding of people's height is not great.
Just like,
and
she doesn't even bat an eye.
You know,
They're like,
I do think that you have to understand what
this is the dialogue that's going on. You know, sometimes it takes me a second. You know, I don't really want to check in on these people. I'm busy and it like hurts my brain, but this is so unhinged. I mean, we do an interview show and sometimes, you know, use memes and you make a naughty joke here and there, but like, I mean, this is wild. He's a Nazi Jew. All white people are racist. White people shouldn't be allowed to eat at Mexican restaurants. This is like these are the leading opinions. Seems sort of kind of like insanely racist.
Gonna be it, you guys.
Itself. I don't understand why anybody thinks Jennifer Welsh is interesting, insightful, or constructive voice in politics in any way. All she does is spread blue and on, wine mom, liberal rants in the most crass and often fact-free way imaginable. Someone should sue her. Maybe that'll be J.D. Vance. It's like she's accusing J.D. Vance of being cruel to his children because they're brown. Again, like a thing that you would never hear on our channel, right? About some lib couple. I don't know. Like again, attacking someone's kids really low. But he says that she goes, because J.D. Vance doesn't care about his brown wife, his wife's Indian, or children, He won't care about you. Listen
to a woman of Indian descent.
Yes.
He has mixed race children.
Does.
So to all of the MAGA voters out there, if this man will not defend his wife and will not defend his kids, do you think he gives a crap about you or anything to do with you? He is.
What the heck? What is wrong with this lady? You know, there are demons. There are people who are demon possessed. They're oftentimes the most self-loathing, miserable, insufferable, passive-aggressive, just crass, nasty, sociopathic individuals. And you can like see it, right? You can feel it. And she interviewed Jen Psaki, and the results are perfectly predictable. They say that Usha Vance wants to leave JD and that she's like trapped in some kind of like horrible relationship. It is inconceivable to these miserable left-wing women that somebody could be in a functional and happy relationship. Utterly inconceivable through all the SSRIs and all of the half-drunk bottles of Chardonnay rattling around on the bottom of their leased vehicles. They say stuff like this.
I think the little Manchurian candidate, JD Vance, wants to be president more than anything else.
Yeah.
I always wonder what's going on in the mind of his wife. Like, are you
Agreed.
okay? Please blink 4 times.
Yes.
We'll come over here. We'll save you. And that he's willing to do anything to get there. And that your whole iteration you just outlined, I mean, he's scarier in certain
Agreed.
ways.
He's smarter.
In some ways. And he's young.
Yeah. And ambitious.
And agile in the sense that he is a chameleon who makes
Right.
himself into whatever he thinks the audience wants to hear from him. Now, what's also true, though, is JD Vance is not, he's in some ways goodish on paper if you like what he believes in. I don't know. But I don't know that he can take the whole movement with him.
No way.
I don't think so either.
There's no riz.
It's got no riz, right?
None.
And he just is a little odd. And so
Totally.
Trump's odd in a different way. So I'm skeptical of that. So yeah, he's got to, I mean, everything going on right now, and I think we have to be very clear-eyed about this, is about trying to manipulate the public around elections. And
He's got no riz. He is scarier than Trump. They say that. I would tend to agree. If you're Jen Psaki. For someone like me, you're like, let's go, man. The JD train rolls on, memes and all. And then they attack Usha Vance. And they're like, blink if you're okay. And she goes, he's got no riz. Lady, you were born in 1973. Okay? You were born in 1970. You're 52 years old. You're from like Texas and Oklahoma. A reality TV star. Okay. Calm down. Act your age. Like, relax. And stop trying to make fetch happen. It's like, it's not going to happen. Maybe you can like pay for TV bookings, whatever. Nothing baffles the liberal women more than a happy marriage. That's right. I must admit it, the plot that J.D. Vance is worse than Hitler started earlier than I anticipated. The left will say anything to see if it sticks. The same old playbook. You know what actually sticks? Ideas, common sense, policies, and working for Americans. Jen Psaki is part of that bitter Hillary group that simply tries to mean girl their way into office devoid of ideas. And absolutely correct, by the way. Jen Psaki must be transferring her own personal issues onto others, the dumbass who has no comprehension of the truth, and tries to overcompensate for her lack of talent by saying untrue things. Circle back on that, moron. Yeah. Usha is accompanying JD right now, and Israel is securing the Gaza peace deal. These are absolutely disgusting comments. Not a good person at all. These are horrible things to say. This is the look of a woman who adores the man that she married. The eyes of Chico never lie. MSNBC is the trashiest channel on TV. It's only fitting that they employ the most insufferable ex-Biden staffer, nasty woman. Also, who wants to hear these three witches talk about Riz? You're in your 50s, lady. Ladies, like, chill out. Act your age. You're in your 50s. Jen Psaki and KJP are in competition this week to see who can be the worst former press secretaries. Both are calamities. Usha, I'm really happy in my marriage. Jen Psaki. Silence, minority. A liberal white woman is speaking to you. You're unhappy. That's right. I will not be taking advice on who and who does not have Riz from three women who can no longer control their facial expressions because of the cosmetic treatments that they got in order to cling to the taste of relevancy they once had. Chopped, literally. Yeah, okay. They did the same stuff to Melania for years. January 6th text message didn't shut them up. Yeah, that's right. They actually put like Melania Trump's text messages up on screen during the DNC convention. They're grotesque people. And they actually think they're the good guys. We're talking about the shame Usha Vance here. Usha Vance looks so lovingly and proud at her husband. This is completely foreign to left-wing women. They're starting early. That's right. JD Vance got a chance to respond to this. Vance reacts. And he slams Jen Psaki. There you go.
Former White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki made some comments suggesting that your wife, the Second Lady, needed to be saved from you. How do you feel about comments like that being made while you're here with the Second Lady?
Oh, I think it's disgraceful, but of course the Second Lady can speak for herself, and I'm very lucky to have a wonderful wife, and I know, or at least I hope that my wife feels the same about me, but we are very lucky to have this journey, or I should say I'm very lucky to go on this journey with a very loving wife. We're going to keep on serving the country together, and I'm honored to have Usha by my side on this trip in particular, but always.
Okay, everybody. Well, we got quite a bit out tonight. So time to watch games tonight. World Series. Hopefully Toronto will win. I don't want the Dodgers to win. Then Michigan and Michigan State's on. Then the rivalry between K&M, TCU, and West Virginia. I'll stay away from that game. I won't root for either one. So, God bless you, everybody. Love all. Remember, please hit the like. Thanks, Kay and Reagan. JJ must be busy tonight. Sharp Fire didn't come in. So, stay safe, stay strong, keep the faith, never give up. And the cold weather is coming. Cold weather is coming. And everything can develop. So I'll be back on till tomorrow night, 5. Looks like it'll be about 5 or so. So God bless everybody and signing off, Chicken Dude.